Santa Claus, how do you feel about global warming? How is that affecting your home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. That's why we're giving out the coal.
Oh. I see. That does seem like a masterful plan.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough ice left right now, but we have plans to move to the South Pole because there's a greater landmass there.
That would be quite the relocation. All the way across on the other side of the
Yeah,
world.
well, I mean, we're good at logistics. That's all I'll say.
We have today the man, the myth, the legend, Saint Nicholas, better known as Santa Claus these days. Santa, thank you so much for joining us.
Ho, ho, ho!
Right, that classic ho, ho, ho. Gotta love that. Saint Nicholas, or do you prefer Santa Claus? What do you prefer?
Nicholas is fine.
Okay. Can I call you Nick?
Sure.
Okay, Nick. How was the flight down here?
Oh, it's pretty good, just good to get the sleigh out a couple weeks before the big day, take it around for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we even got you here with how busy you are this time of year.
Yeah, well, I have got all the big stuff in place. I like to get it in place earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that leaves time for podcasting. Thank you for this exclusive interview. Santa Claus will not be on any other podcasts, as far as I understand.
Ho, 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 yep.
That's right. So, St. Nicholas, you know that we always, because you're a loyal listener to our podcast, you know that we always ask the same question first. And this one, I think it's pretty obvious to most people. But what is your favorite color, and what does that say about you as a person?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, young boy, I think I've done a lot of soul searching about this question, and I think that my favorite color is red.
Okay, never would have guessed.
Yeah, it seemed a little too aggressive to me at first, so I kind of repressed it for a lot of years, but now I can proudly say that it's red.
Okay, and what does that say about you as a person?
I think it just says that I'm a holly jolly person.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is true. So Santa Claus, Nick. Nick, what is your earliest memory? Do you remember, do you remember the year you were born?
Yeah, I was born in the 70s.
The 70s? Okay.
Yeah.
1970?
270.
270. AD?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 270 AD. That's, man, you've been around for a while.
Yeah, day flies fast, when you're having fun.
I guess that's true. So, do you remember your earliest memory in 270 AD? Or
yeah.
Probably not in 270, but.
Yeah, I remember it. I gave someone a present.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
For what? Was it a birthday present or was it a Christmas present?
No, it was just cold.
What did you?
It was a winter present.
It wasn't a special day back then, Christmas, so that wasn't established quite yet. So I guess maybe that was on Christmas. I don't know. It just felt right. Cold.
Mm-hmm. And what did you give them?
Yeah, I think I gave them an onion.
Were those nicer back then? Onions?
No, pretty much the same.
Right.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a much bigger operation these days. It's kind of funny thinking back on it. That's where it all started.
So do you think that's where your generosity started? You just always felt the urge to give gifts to people?
Yeah,
I guess you could say that.
Yeah. So, Santa, I've got a couple softball questions.
Okay.
I'm
pretty soft.
Right. Just to get things started.
Oh!
What is the best Christmas song in your opinion?
Oh. That's a good one, young boy.
Is it Here Comes Santa Claus? The First Noel?
I don't know. Some of them are a little insulting, I'll admit, but I think I'd have to say probably whatever one's, just most popular at any time. Because I make about it's like a 2% royalty on all Christmas songs produced
all Christmas
in
songs.
the whole world at all times.
Wow.
So, some of them in a given year can bring in a lot.
Okay.
Helps to subsidize some of the more generous aspects of our operation.
So you're more of a practical man.
Well, I'm a philanthropist.
Okay.
And a philanthropist has to be practical.
Right. So you consider yourself a philanthropist. That's the title you would use, not magical legend?
I'm both.
Okay. Now, I'm sure some listeners at home are kind of surprised because their parents told them when they were kids that Santa Claus doesn't exist. What would you say to those listeners who just aren't sure if you're the real Santa Claus?
Yeah, well, I mean, I get it. With the whole Easter Bunny scandal, I mean, people are just losing their faith in institutions. But I think just to appeal to that younger audience who their parents, probably are, kind of depressed people. I mean, there's correlations. You can look at the psychological studies. But anyways, I mean, to address those people, I would just say that you just got to believe.
Okay. That's right. That's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, there's so much evidence. I mean, the presents.
Yes.
The cookies missing. I mean, I don't personally understand it, but I understand that there are people who aren't like me.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't eat the cookies, then there's no other explanation for that.
Yeah.
Just look at the science.
People need to trust the science more, am I right?
At least Santa Claus.
Yes. So, Santa, I do want to get into a little bit more about, you made a bit of a transition in your career from just being a Saint Nicholas, to being now Santa Claus, a worldwide phenomenon. So, back when you were a saint, as far as I understand, in order to be considered a saint by the Catholic Church, you have to have done some miracles or have some miracles associated with you. What were those miracles, Santa?
Yeah. Those were the good old days. I mean, most people don't really know. I'm not really famous for the miracles, other than fitting down the chimneys and stuff. But, there was the thing with, the people, they dispute modern biblical scholarship, Christian scholarship. It's kind of all, they dispute my miracles, but that's okay. I mean, they weren't there, but, whatever. So there was the thing with the three kids who were
3 kids.
Yeah, 3 kids. I mean, Jesus only did one at a time, but all glory to him. They were pickled in brine.
They were pickled in brine.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was. It wasn't a common thing back then.
How were they?
the
Were they alive?
No, very dead. Yeah,
Very dead. How long have they been dead?
Just a few days. I mean, that's why it was kind of, I guess, easier. I don't know. I mean, all things possible.
Okay, so what happened?
Yeah, so, I don't know. There was this butcher guy.
Oh my.
And I guess he killed them, and I raised them back to life. It helped that they were kind of pickled. There was less I had to do to put them back together. I mean, I didn't do it. God worked through me, but less that had to get put back together,
Can we pause?
So I'd recommend the pickling method if you're praying for a miracle. But anyways, it's not that big of a deal. It's not a big part of my career, but I calmed some seas just a little bit. I mean, it could have just been the timing. I don't know, but yeah.
Can we pause? Is this really where we want to take this, Josh?
We
What-
looked it up on
what's her-
Wikipedia.
what's her problem?
Is that true?
These are true stories.
Oh my gosh.
At least Wikipedia has it. I mean,
Yeah, we
you
fact
never
checked
really
Santa.
You would
Oh,
never
okay,
really know
okay.
these days, but
I thought we were gonna have a magical episode.
Of course, it's magical. We have Santa Claus.
Right, go ahead.
everything's magical when you got the big man.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Right. So another story that I had actually heard. I hadn't heard the pickled children one. That is
It's not. It wasn't a big deal.
okay. Right.
I mean, I'm sure the mothers. Anyways.
So you were at the famous Council of Nicaea.
Oh
I hear.
yeah. Ho, 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 ho.
Where
That was a fiery one.
yes. For those of you who don't know, the Council of Nicaea was very important in the development of the doctrine of the deity of Christ and the deity of the Holy Spirit. Is that right? Santa
Sounds
Claus?
about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little while ago for me, you know.
So the doctrine of the Trinity. And Arius, who was considered a heretic by the end of the council, supposedly you got fired up enough, Santa, that you punched him in the face. Is that true?
I mean, I was in my early hundreds. I mean, not hundreds. Early 80s back then. Now I'm more in like my
1800s?
1800s. So I was pretty fiery back then. I didn't have the whole reputation either. So yeah, he was wrong. So
So you just punched
So you punched him.
yeah,
That's, I mean, I love a man of action.
yeah. I mean, I think the world could use a lot of that these days.
Yeah.
A lot
Just,
of,
So
Yeah.
do you think
But-
if somebody was doing something like that now, they'd be put on the naughty list?
oh, well, let me tell you, yes.
you have a lot of heretics on the naughty list.
Well, I mean punching someone in the face.
Oh, well, it entirely depends on who is punched in the face. But yeah, there's a
But
lot
all
of heretics
heretics.
on the naughty list. That's
Okay.
kind of we have a watch list. I mean, I can't get into all the details of
Okay.
our operation.
Yes. So something that I'm very curious about is at some point you made this transition from Saint Nicholas to Santa Claus. How did that happen? What went into that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the board decided that it was best for the numbers. I mean, I think it was a good transition.
Now, a lot of people that I talk to, my wife, my family, just different Christians that I talk to feel like Christmas has gotten over commercialized. That there's too much of a focus on Santa Claus and presents, and not enough focus on Jesus Christ. What would you say to those people who partially blame you for that?
Oh well, I mean, I'd have to say that. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to fund the whole operation. You know. I mean, I guess I've kind of had a little bit of a mindset shift. You know, you could say. I mean, same thing I've been doing all along, but letting God bless me with more in order to give more.
So do you have a good relationship with Jesus then, since it is his birthday that's keeping you in business?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I'd put it quite that way. It's his birthday that saves us all from our sins, but yes, I mean, I'm a saint after all.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear, Santa Claus, that your heart's still in the right place. You know, I think some people have misunderstood you, really. No. So, another softball question, Santa Claus. What?
These are the softball ones.
Well, sorry, those weren't the softball ones. This is a softball one. What am I getting for Christmas?
Oh, well, depending on how this podcast goes, you'll be on the nice list, I hope. But I was planning on getting you just guns and knives, because I know that's what your heart truly desires. But I have a lot of opportunity to cause a lot of strife in marital relationships, and I try not to do that. So, you'll just be getting your wife gifts this year.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That is
Is that not what you expected to hear?
not what I wanted to hear, but okay.
What am I gonna get?
It's for the best for you.
Right. Yes.
I hope you understand.
Yeah.
What am I gonna get?
You're gonna get a pony.
I've always wanted a pony. Thank
It's
you.
a really nice pony. I mean, I think so. I would take it as a gift.
Wow.
I look forward to seeing your pony.
I'm
there.
so excited.
Can compare it to my nothing. Speaking of the naughty and the nice list, Santa Claus, how exactly do you determine who is on the nice list and who's on the naughty list? I mean, what I really mean is, like, do you have a certain moral philosopher that you adhere to? Like, is it Aristotle? Are you more of a utilitarian? Just wondering where those decisions come from.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm quite the scholar, being from the first century. I've seen a lot come and go. Yeah, the question you're really asking is, what is a good child? With a capital G, and a capital CH. What's a good child? And the Bible says that no one is good but God. So we can't really get much from there. It's not very helpful. So I think one man maybe who put it well. Some thoughts I already had, but he kind of put them well, would be would be the Kantean categorical imperative, and which is the idea that actions, in order to be considered morally good or morally wrong, must be good in all situations or wrong in all situations. And that just cuts out a lot of the gray areas. Well, I robbed the bank to help my family. Well, if you got all the money, maybe you can just get coal then, like those kind of discussions.
Yeah, that does help. So, like, what about, people who hid Jews from Nazis? It's not always right to lie to the government. So, did they get coal?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always right to hide Jews from Nazis.
Okay. Well, Santa, I mean...
Unless you can think of a...
No, I mean, it's a difficult job. It's a difficult job, Santa. I think you're doing the best you can.
Well,
I'm not here to try and anyways.
So do you have grace? Like, if a kid is consistently, doing things that are not good, would you have grace for them?
Well, I mean, what you need to understand is, little girl, that I'm trying to run an international operation. So, any kind of flex in the rules is just not really possible at that scale.
So there is no grace.
I mean, there's grace from Jesus Christ, but not from Santa Claus.
Wow.
I mean, when you think about it, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's just, coal is pretty useful as far as it goes,
Less useful these days, but yeah.
Oh no, it generates a lot of electricity.
Well, that's true, but to an individual who doesn't
To
own
a
a coal
child.
power plant,
Yeah, I mean, you could generate electricity with it, I guess, but...
Have you ever considered switching from coal to maybe like a renewable? Like giving kids solar panels or something?
Yeah, I guess we haven't considered that yet.
Coal's probably cheaper.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
But it's going to run out.
I don't know. I'm not sure it will.
So, do you actually employ a bunch of elves to make the gifts?
Oh, how else would I do it?
Well, I just remember as a child, I got some gifts, and they said made in China. And I was very curious because the North Pole was not in China.
Yeah.
At least not at the time. So I just didn't know where the gifts came from. Did the elves make it in the North Pole? Was it made in China? Can you clear that up for me?
Yeah, I mean, a common misconception. Maybe one of those reasons people think that I don't exist, just because the gifts are made in China. I don't know. But, yeah, there's multiple reasons. So, I mean, a lot of Christmas gifts these days are made in China by the comparatively less magical Chinese people. Still great people though, but comparatively less magical. But the elves are still very involved in the whole operation, in terms of logistics and administration and all of that. Because I'll just say I have my hands in a lot of that. Yeah, me and Jijiang Pi, we get together every Christmas, and we make it happen. Mm-hmm. And they just in really
His
scaling.
favorite color's red too.
Yeah, I think
You
that's
guys
a nice
must
touch.
get along.
It's a nice touch. Yeah, so I mean, of course we're both into totalitarian dictatorship also, but
Right.
yeah. But anyways, yeah, I mean, in just scaling up our operation to the whole world, as Christmas has grown more and more popular, as you know. I mean, you look at the statistics, and they're amazing. I mean, what we've done. But it wasn't something we could fit in the North Pole. So we, started to outsource it some. And I think overall that's had a positive effect on the elven economy.
So would you say the Chinese people have more faith in in Santa then, since you're directly working with them to get production going?
No, absolutely no faith in Santa Claus. It's very sad to see. Wow. But they do work hard.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple questions from my family actually.
Okay.
My son Arthur.
Oh.
My son Arthur wanted to know why he didn't get a Christmas present last year. He had just been born like a couple weeks before Christmas, but I assume he was on the list by then. Right?
Oh, on the list. Yep. Yeah, you can ask his mother. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean most babies are not on the nice list.
Oh, really?
Why?
What have they done?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say first that they already received the gift of life, which is one of the greatest gifts we can receive. So there's not much I could do in comparison anyways, considering they don't really want anything from me either. But it's just, they're just mean sometimes.
That is true. I do remember him being very mean. So.
Yeah, kind of selfish, but.
So, I guess you wouldn't apply an age of accountability to infants then?
Oh, I definitely believe in an age of accountability.
But just not for Santa Claus's purposes, or?
Oh, yeah, it's 0.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, it's just there's not a lot of room for ifs, ands, and buts in the profession.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, okay.
What did you mean by ask his mother? What did his mom do?
I mean, what he did to his mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A question from my wife. She is fairly health conscious, about what she eats, and she doesn't really like that around the holiday times a lot of people drink a lot of sugar or eat a lot of sugar. And she was wondering, you used she claimed, and you can push back on this if you need to, but she claims that you used to put fruit in children's stockings. Instead of candy. And she's wondering, would you ever switch back? Why did you switch from fruit? That seems like the healthier option.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the whole health thing is kind of overblown. I mean, I've lived for thousands of years, but not thousands quite, but almost 2,000 years. I still feel great. But anyways, yeah. So I used to do fruit. That's when things were a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller operation. As I started to scale things out, it got more difficult. You've got the refrigeration, you got all the greenhouses in the North Pole, and then just as international law became more and more complicated with import. Have you ever tried to import fruit?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So you can grow it in country, but the supply chain is much more difficult. But also, and I mean, the FDA was getting on my case for all kinds of things. The USDA, I mean, yeah. So
The CIA.
Well, I mean, not for that. But so it just kind of got too complicated, and what's the point? Because candy's better.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, I don't think you should go back, Santa. Don't look back.
Thank you, young boy.
Yes. Sorry, just looking at my notes here. One that I'm sure lots of our listeners are wondering about. How do you get into houses that don't have chimneys?
Oh, well, yeah. I guess that's kind of a broader question.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
How do I do it?
Yeah.
How do I do it? Yeah, I would just say I just recommend that you open your mind. I mean, just what we think of as modern science is really just the beginning. There's so much that we don't know, or at least that you don't know outside of the North Pole, just about the world, about reality, about what some people might call magic. But yeah, so to answer your question bluntly, it's quantum indeterminacy.
Right.
And what does that mean for some of us that don't know?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what you might call teleportation.
Oh. So
Okay.
you don't even use chimneys anymore.
Well, I mean, yeah, I do if they're there. It makes things a little bit easier.
For teleporting or just... Right.
Less material interference. But I mean, you look at what people did with the pyramids, and Stonehenge. I wasn't there for either of those, but we kind of do similar stuff to make it all happen.
Wow. And
I mean, down here, below the Arctic Circle, a lot of governments kind of suppress that sort of stuff.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I've been dealing with that for a long time.
Are they coming after you?
No, I mean they're just kind of happy to let people, disbelieve because it sounds ridiculous, but like flat Earth, for example. Like flat Earth.
Is the Earth flat?
Well, I mean, how else would I do it? I mean, it's pretty easy to work out. You can work out the physics yourself. I mean, with a round Earth, I wouldn't be able to deliver all the gifts in one day.
Wow. That is convincing evidence that the Earth is flat. How
It's a
would
little
Santa...
roundabout, but yes.
how
Well, it's
would
not
Santa-
roundabout. I mean, it's roundabout, one way, but it's not roundabout the other way,
How would Santa deliver all the gifts if the Earth were round?
Uh-huh.
That's-
So, the moon landing, that didn't happen?
Well, I mean, they probably made it there. I've been there plenty of times.
Really?
It's not that big of a deal.
You can teleport there?
Well, no, we just take the reindeer. The reindeer like to go up there sometimes.
Oh, okay. Is it made of cheese? The moon?
Oh, no. I wish.
That's too bad. Santa Claus, I want to ask about your longtime partner in crime, Mrs. Claus.
Oh,
How did you first meet Mrs. Claus?
oh, well, I was running a pretty small operation back then. Just, kind of a neighborhood thing, a hobby, you might say. You know,
Just onions mostly.
well, no, not onions so much, but and you know, I was working at the church as bishop. You know, as one is Bishop of Myra. If you don't know my full title, and you know, she was just I preached every Sunday, and she was in the congregation, and you know, kind of hit it off.
So what did you do for your first date?
I think we went out and gave some people gifts.
Really? Wow. That's you're a dedicated man to what you do. You're dedicated.
Oh, yep.
And does she like the whole operation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she pretty much runs it, so
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of just the figurehead, you know.
Yeah.
Though that could be changing these days. You know, the markets are shifting. People are more interested in, you know, female leads and role models, and you know, but I don't know. I think we have a shared understanding that that's just not the direction we want to take.
Yeah.
Our philanthropic organization.
Well, I think people like Santa Claus.
Thanks. Me too.
So do you guys have any children?
Nope. No children. Just elves. And reindeer.
So the reindeers like employees or just kind of like pets that are useful?
Well, they're draft animals, little girl. For the purpose of working. I mean, we breed them, we feed them, we kill them when they're not useful anymore.
And what do you do with the body?
What kind of question is that?
Well, I'm just
We
wondering
give
if
them
you
a
eat
respectful burial
them. Okay.
for all their years of service.
Didn't know if you ate them.
So I want to ask you about a few well-known Christmas characters. You know, Rudolph.
Okay.
Does his nose really glow red?
Well, how else would we do it? I mean, there's foggy nights all the time.
That is true.
Yeah.
How many Christmas nights are foggy? Would you say out of a century, given century?
Oh, just like that one from the song.
Just the one. So, is he still around? Is Rudolph still around? Is he still
yeah.
kicking?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
That's
plays
good.
reindeer games all the time.
That's good to hear. Yeah, still fit. That's nice. What's the snowman's name? Frosty. Frosty the snowman.
Oh,
I know he doesn't have like a real direct connection to you, but how is he doing?
yeah. I mean, I'm really happy for him. You know, he's. I feel like he's had a good run at it. You know, he's kind of been vacationing up around the North Pole. He has a place there where it doesn't melt
Oh, yeah.
around the year because that's kind of uncomfortable. But I don't think he's been doing very much these days. I mean, he had some, you know, a very well-known acting career, very successful. I think he mostly just, you know, enjoys the taiga now.
Yeah. Buddy the Elf. I love that documentary film about him.
Oh yeah, it's very lifelike. Very
yeah,
it really captures the essence of what we've got going on at the North Pole.
Yes. How is he doing?
Oh
the
well.
North Pole?
You know, I think I've seen him acting in some other movies beyond that, the documentary about his life.
Oh, really? They
Yeah.
launched an acting career for him.
Yeah, I mean, what other movies? I can't think of any other movies off the top of my head, the names, but I mean, they're not Christmas movies. I don't know why he's not doing more Christmas movies, but I think he played some character named Will Ferrell one time.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what. I think Will Ferrell, he like played an actor or something.
That's interesting.
I don't know. But
Just a common resemblance or something between the two of them.
yeah. But we we don't really encourage upward social mobility in the North Pole. So what he did was kind of a fluke, but we let it pass because he's a human, not an elf.
Yeah.
But,
So has that caused some social unrest?
I mean, it did around the time, but that's all been,
Taken care of. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So.
So, did you really run over Grandma with your reindeer?
Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, some of the songs are a little accusatory, but it says a reindeer. Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Okay, we have some rogue reindeers sometimes, and I can't really get into all the details. I can neither confirm nor deny the answer to your question. Just to say, stay safe out there on Christmas. Make sure to keep your head up. That's all I can say.
It's good advice, Santa.
And what about I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus?
Oh,
What does Mrs. Claus think about that one?
well, yeah, she doesn't like it, but it's purely fictitious. I've never kissed a mommy.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So just to transition a little bit, Santa Claus, you did mention the whole health thing. That you don't really think that you think people get a little bit too concerned about it, given your advanced age. What do you do for your health to stay so spry and able to
Yeah.
move around, get down chimneys?
Yeah. Well, that's the quantum indeterminacy, but yeah, I mean, that's why I say she runs everything. Mrs. Claus really stays on me about my health. She keeps me in shape, keeps me in form. So I mean, she's had me on keto for a couple years now. I do pretty well with that, I think. I've lost a lot on it.
Right. Those are keto Oreos. We made sure for you.
Oh, I don't know the flavor there.
So, have you seen the Santa Claus movies? I'm curious.
Like which one is this? Santa Claus
The one that's on Disney with what's the guy?
Yeah, I mean, I
Tim
watch every
Allen?
single Christmas.
Yeah, Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. The
Tim Allen
Christmas-
ones.
I watch every single Christmas movie every
So,
year.
is that accurate? If you
Well,
fell
I
off a
mean, there's
roof,
There's some elaborations. I don't know. It doesn't. It's okay.
if you fell off a
I
roof,
wasn't involved in that one, so.
would you need to be replaced? Like, is that true?
Is
No,
there
I-
a plan for succession?
Yeah,
Do you ever
especially
want-
if
do
you
you
don't have
ever
any
wanna hang
sons.
the hat up?
You
You
have
ever
any
want to
kids?
hang the hat up, Santa?
Well, after 1,000 years and some change, I have to say I think I know what I want to be when I grow up. Ho 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 ho!
Okay.
Yeah, it's Santa Claus.
Yeah. Well, I respect you for it. Just
Yeah,
keep,
but I'm dead and resurrected, so I'm an immortal being. So no, I would not die from falling off a roof.
You're an immortal being.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, that's kind of how you do the 1,800 years thing,
Wait, then why are you counting if you're just gonna live forever?
I mean, I don't do the counting.
Oh,
Someone else counts it.
yeah.
I hear about it from time to time. The year.
Like, but if you're dead and you resurrected, like, are you just?
Yeah, I'm a saint, so.
Yeah, but don't you want to be in heaven?
Well, the North Pole is pretty close, if you ask me. We're trying to start up, with some vacation business there.
In heaven?
No, the North Pole.
Oh, okay.
So, if you want to come, it's a great place, I think. Stay inside, I'd recommend, but yeah, there's some pretty sights there. Can watch the elves do their thing. Mostly they sit in cubicles these days, so it's not very interesting, but. But skiing, I mean, you can ski on like the icebergs and stuff. pretty fun.
So that brings me to another question. Santa Claus, how do you feel about global warming? How is that affecting your home?
Yeah, it's great. That's why we're giving out the coal.
Oh. I see. That does seem like a masterful plan.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough ice left right now, but we have plans to move to the South Pole because there's a greater landmass there.
That would be quite the relocation. All the way across on the other side of the world.
Oh, I mean, we're good at logistics. That's all I'll say.
I suppose. Will you be sad to probably leave your long-time home, I'm sure.
I mean, yeah, it'll just be an ocean, but other than that, I'll be sad to leave it, yeah.
That's true. Well, Santa...
Yeah, I mean, I considered moving back to Turkey. That's where I started my operation.
Oh, in 270?
Yeah. But,
around then.
I don't know. It's just a little... Just...
Hot there?
Well, yeah, hot. I mean, they don't feel like they're not as into me there, you know? And it just doesn't quite have the same ring to it as South Pole. You know, it's kind of like North Pole. Makes more sense, I guess, to me.
So, have you heard of Krampus?
Krampus.
Krampus.
Yeah, my parents don't know where they went wrong with that one.
He's your brother.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Can you talk more about that? We never talked about what it was like growing up as Nicholas in your household. What was your household like?
Yeah. Well, like I said, is in what you now call Turkey. I mean, we just we did our thing, you know, and everyone was poor back then in the 270s.
So what was it
Not much to
like
it.
growing up with Krampus?
With Krampus?
Yes.
Yeah. I try not to think about that very much, I guess.
Do you know where he is now?
I try to focus on, you know, like the happy things in life, you know, like cookies and hot chocolate, you know. Oh, yeah, I mean, he's just wandering the Arctic wastes looking for people to devour.
Right.
So is he like your twin brother, or is he just close in age, or is he older?
I mean, I guess you could say like evil twin.
And so I've heard that what he does is the kids that are on the naughty list.
Oh.
So how does he get a hold of your naughty list?
No, he doesn't. No. The naughty list is. I mean, we run a pretty tight operation. I would call it the greatest global intelligence collection agency in the world. Krampus does not have access to any of your personal information.
It's good to know.
Yeah, but how is he finding people to devour? I heard sometimes he would find the naughty list kids and like give them spanks and stuff. That's what I heard growing up.
I mean, yeah, lucky if you get spanks. Yeah, he mostly wanders the Arctic wastes in like, I don't know, like Finland, I think.
Why are the Finnish people the ones that get?
I'm not
Krampus?
saying it's like specific. I don't want to offend any of our Finnish viewership, but it's somewhere around there. I guess Finland, I think.
Siberia, maybe.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, well, our church does Operation Christmas Child.
Oh.
Do you have any connections with that?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, the Grahams, they're the ones who run it. I have to say their methods are a little primitive, I would say. But I think they're doing great work. I don't consider them like competition. You know, we just generally, you know, we serve different clientele. And that's okay. You know.
What do you mean? What do you mean you serve different clientele?
Well, I mean, you know, the underrepresented people, you know, around the world, is kind of what they focus on. The people that, you know, we don't necessarily get to in one day. We only have one day. I mean.
So you don't get to everybody in one day?
No, I mean, we don't. Not everyone gets a Christmas gift every year. Sad.
And so there are children in those parts of the world that are good, but they don't get gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Operation Christmas Child comes in.
Yeah, I mean, they do their best. Like I said, their methods are somewhat primitive, but...
But don't you think it's unfair that those children are good but don't get gifts from you?
Yeah, of course it's unfair, but, I mean, their parents don't pay, so where are the gifts going to come from? Everything takes money.
So parents pay you to give their kids gifts.
Yeah, I mean, how else would we do it?
So...
But
what's the point
about
of
the philanthropy? I thought you said you were a
Yeah.
philanthropist, Santa.
Yeah, I mean, we assist them in doing what they wouldn't otherwise be able to do. I mean, the money we get back, from parents is small in comparison to the costs we take on, and all the manufacturing and distribution and all of it. It's quite an operation.
Teleportation.
Well, yes, I mean we have pretty extensive research and development sectors.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the teleportation, I've watched a lot of science fiction.
Yeah, it's
and such.
quantum indeterminism.
Okay.
just to be-
Now, does that create a copy of yourself in another location? And then does something have to happen to one of those copies?
Oh, don't we wish there were more Santas in the world?
That would be nice.
But, no. It's not really how the science works, sorry.
Darn.
Yet again, I just would encourage you to open your mind up, not be constrained by what your government wants you to think.
Yeah. Well, Santa Claus, I just so very appreciate you doing this interview with us. I just want to ask, is there anything that we haven't gotten to that you wanted to tell the folks about?
No. I mean, I've still got some cookies here to eat, but, Yeah, I guess, just know that I'm always watching.
Oh.
I think, a lot of people in the world could think about that more. It'd do them some good.
So I know your relationship with Jesus is very important, seeing as you're a saint.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything about that you would want the kids to know? Because a lot of them are growing up and there's a lot of, rumors about you, what you're like, your personality, the things you like, but there's, some things that are very true about you, and that's that you believe in Jesus Christ. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Oh, yeah, well, I think everything about me is true. But, to address your question, I think that, I really don't like, in modern discussions, there seems to be this kind of dichotomy, if you will, between Santa and Jesus Christ. Like we're opposed in some way. Mm-hmm. Okay, but, I would just like to point out that we do completely different things. Obviously, I in subservience to him.
Meaning?
What do you mean?
What does subservient mean?
I'm subservient to him.
He serves.
I know, but kids don't know that. Children don't know that.
Okay, children, right, yeah. That's what we do it for, as children.
Yes.
So, Jesus is my Lord, too. But also, this thing about, you don't want to tell your kids that Santa Claus exists because then they won't believe in Jesus because Santa Claus doesn't exist. I think the premises there are just all false.
Well, because you do exist.
Because I do exist.
Right.
But also, I think that believing in Santa Claus can really help you have a closer relationship with Jesus. I believe in Santa Claus. And I feel like that really helps me to have a closer relationship with Jesus.
Well, if you didn't believe in Santa Claus, that would be quite strange.
It'd be difficult. Yeah. So I just think of what he said. It's better to give than receive. That's that's the Christmas spirit. Even though the gifts that I give, they're nothing in comparison to what Jesus Christ gave when he came down on Christmas. That's kind of where I got the whole idea of the Christmas thing, doing it on Christmas, because it's like, Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been patting myself on the back for that one for centuries.
Well, it really stuck. I mean, it caught on.
Yeah,
People like it.
Yeah, I'm good at advertising. I'll say that. I'm an idea man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus gave himself to us. And, that would be a pretty big gift if I gave myself to you.
Yeah.
But that's what Jesus decided to do. And, we're all indebted to him for it.
And so are those your final words to the kids in your almost 2,000 years of life? What lesson have you learned that you would want to impart? Because I'm not probably going to have that many years to learn things.
Yeah.
What would you leave us with?
Oh.
What wisdom have you
Almost
gathered?
2,000 years.
Yeah.
You say it like I'm old. Make sure to eat your dessert first. Life is short.
For us.
Some good advice,
for
Santa
you.
Claus. Well, I think it's probably a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah,
I agree.
I gotta get going.
You probably got a
Well,
reindeer to
I
catch.
mean, the North Pole is probably on fire at this point.
Yes.
But they have Mrs. Claus.
Well, yeah, of course.
And snow doesn't burn. But.
Right, that's a good...
Igloos melt, though.
Right.
Problem.
Santa Claus, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure it's just some of the most precious time on Earth around this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
So just thank you so much for that. And I'm sure all of our listeners will just really appreciate just getting an inside look at, something that they've all wondered about.
Yeah, well, thank you, little boy and little girl, for doing this. It's good.
Right.
Thank you, Santa.
Well, thank you, everybody, for your time and your attention. Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year.
Oh!
Merry Christmas.